What's up everyone? Today we have our first Warlock build ever on the channel with the Frost King Warlock. As a Titan main, it is really tough to stop eating crayons, but every once in a while it is nice to hop on this build and just freeze everything. This build is good not only in like Vanguard strike level super easy content, but also good all the way up into Grandmaster Nightfalls where it really excels. Having someone in your fire team that can fully utilize this build just makes everything so much easier. And thankfully this build should stand the test of time as it does not use any artifact mods from this season. A lot of the gameplay that you'll see in this video is going to be from the Heist Battlegrounds Europa, where again, pretty much everything will stay frozen just about the whole time. To get this video going, let's as usual start off with the subclass setup. This way we'll really understand the basics of what's going on here. We only have one super option here with Winter's Wrath, but it's actually an okay super with decent ad clear potential and more importantly, control. Since there is really not that much healing here, let's for sure go with the Healing Rift as the class ability. Choose whatever jump you want, and like the other Darkness subclasses, we only have one melee option here with the Penumbral Blast. This melee is nice though because it's a way to just instantly freeze any enemy you want, and we will also be using this melee to help regenerate other abilities with some mods, but we'll get to that a little bit later. As for your grenade, make sure to go with the Cold Snap grenade, since this one will be very important to pair with the exotic gloves that we'll be using. At their base level with no enhancements at all, Cold Snap grenades are awesome because they freeze the first enemy they find, and they actually continuously find and freeze more targets after that for a few seconds. And don't worry, we will be supercharging the grenades with this build. For your aspects, we are first going to want to choose the Bleak Watcher, since this is going to be what shakes up the build most. Bleak Watcher will allow you to overcharge your grenades and convert them into deployable turrets. And these turrets are incredibly powerful. Just charge your grenade, throw it wherever you like, and watch the magic happen. Bleak Watcher turrets last for 25 seconds unless they are destroyed, but if everything is frozen, the turrets should be for the most part pretty safe. They will shoot off a volley of 5 stasis projectiles that will freeze almost anything, making it very easy to control a full group of enemies. If you didn't know, the slow effect that happens before an enemy is frozen will actually stun overload champions, and shattering a frozen unstoppable champion will stun them as well. So that's 2 champion types that are fully covered right from within our subclass, no weapons required. All you have to do is have a Bleak Watcher turret ready to go, very easy. Last thing I'll say here is not every instance requires a Bleak Watcher turret. Feel free to use your regular Cold Snap grenades occasionally since they don't require any charge up and they will instantly freeze anything they touch. The next aspect we'll use here is Ice Flare Bolts. This aspect is not only incredibly powerful, but it's so easy to use because it works for you without almost any effort at all. This essentially turns every killed frozen enemy into another Cold Snap grenade. Freeze an enemy in any way, kill them, and watch everything in the surrounding area get frozen instantly. And this can also chain for as long as you want. Basically, as long as there are red bar enemies nearby, you will easily be able to continuously chain those freezes. And I promise you, with how many Bleak Watcher turrets you will be able to put on the field, everything is going to be taken care of. So those are our 2 aspects, very important. What about the fragments? First, we'll choose Whisper of Durance, which is not that great, but it does make the slow debuff we apply to enemies last a little bit longer, and it will also give us 5 more seconds on any Bleak Watcher turrets that we deploy, which now means they last for 30 seconds. As a nice bonus, this fragment also gives us 10 additional strength. Whisper of Chains is next because it reduces the amount of damage we take by 40% when standing next to any frozen target or stasis crystal. As we know by now, there will be frozen enemies everywhere, so we'll be taking much less damage almost all the time. And this obviously will stack with 100 resilience, giving us 58% damage resistance. And if you add in any Strand Guardians that's able to provide Woven Mail to you as well, you will be taking 84% less damage once you combine all those buffs. And as icing on the cake, this also gives you 10 additional recovery. Whisper of Refraction will be our 3rd fragment, and it's really going to help us get our Healing Rift back quickly. All we have to do is defeat any slowed or frozen enemies, and we'll get around 10% Healing Rift energy in return. Our 4th and final fragment we get to choose is Whisper of Fissures, which will increase the damage and size of any frozen enemy kills we get. This fragment works tremendously in this build, and it really helps not only control the enemies, but will also kill just about anything in sight. Alright, so now we've got our subclass setup dialed in. How can we take this to the next level? Well, of course, that's going to come in the form of our exotic armor, the Osmiomancy Gloves. With this exotic, we now get 2 Cold Snap grenades, which, yes, that means 2 stasis turret charges. Cool thing too is if you direct hit any enemy with a regular cold snap grenade, so not a turret, you actually get 50% of your grenade charge refunded back to you. So again, this build definitely does encourage the use of both turrets and cold snaps. You get benefits from both. But yeah, just look at what 2 Bleakwatcher turrets can do for you. It's beautiful. And don't worry, we can have more than 2 Bleakwatcher turrets up at the same time, and a lot of that is going to help with our weapon choice. For weapons here, I really have 2 paths you can take, just depends on what kind of content you're running. Let's start with the weapon setup that you'll be taking to pretty much anything besides a Grandmaster Nightfall, maybe a Master Raid or something like that. This works extremely well in seasonal activities like Savathun Spire, where there's just tons of enemies everywhere. As for the weapon pick here, you will definitely want to use one of my favorite weapons in the game, which is going to be the Stasis Fusion Rifle Deliverance. This is acquired from the Vow of the Disciple raid. If you can't craft it or get a perfect roll right away, you can go with the Riptide Fusion Rifle that you can just spam engrams for at shacks in the Crucible. Either way, the main perk we're going to want to go with here is Demolitionist, which both of these weapons can roll with. The standard Demolitionist perk will not only reload the weapon when tossing a grenade, but it will also grant 20% grenade energy for each weapon kill we get with that weapon. But the reason I like Deliverance specifically is because it can be crafted with the enhanced Demolitionist roll, which actually gives us 24% grenade energy on every kill with it. So Deliverance can get your grenade back a little bit quicker, but the other thing with Deliverance is it can also roll with Chill Clip, which will slow even more enemies for you. Demolitionist and Chill Clip is by far the best trait combo in my opinion, so make sure to craft it exactly this way. But for the most part, in super high level content like Grandmasters, or any instance where maybe a fusion rifle is just going to be too dangerous, you can swap to almost any other weapon that meets the requirements for whatever activity you're running. Obviously that's extremely important. In most of my Grandmaster gameplay here, I have been using the Wish Ender, which is just a great weapon and hits like a truck. It doesn't have Demolitionist, it doesn't really have any synergy with this build, but it worked for this GM. And if you watch my GM guide, you can see that I still get stasis grenades up all the time. But you can also use one of many other weapons available with Demolitionist to help you get your grenade back as well. The new Pacific Epitaph from Ghosts of the Deep is an awesome choice, being a wave frame ad clearing monster. You've got Ias Luna from Grasp of Avarice, that's a little bit older, but it still works. Or even the Ritual Chain of Command LMG. These are all just stasis weapons. I always like to go with stasis. If I'm running stasis, just stick with the same subclass, but you can use any weapon with Demolitionist and you should be just fine. So finally, let's move on to the armor mods. For the helmet, I run Special Ammo Finder, Stasis Siphon, and Dynamo to get my super back quickly when I'm using my Healing Rift near allies. For the gloves, run Focusing Strike and Impact Induction for even more Rift and grenade energy from meleeing targets. I decided to double up on Impact Induction to get my grenade back just a little bit more quickly. The chest should always have a couple resist mods for whatever you need, as well as one charged up for an extra armor charge. But if you want to, you can throw on a triple resist if you're really struggling, or you can add a reserve mod in there if you want to as well. On the boots, I've got Better Already and Absolution for healing and all ability regen by picking up orbs, as well as a surge mod to best fit the activity I'm running. If you're running Deliverance, throw on a Stasis Surge to get 10% more damage out of it. And finally, for the class item, you can actually switch between 2 different sets. When you are using Deliverance or any Demolitionist weapon, go with Powerful Attraction for gathering orbs when popping your Rift, Reaper for an automatic orb when getting a weapon kill after using your Rift, and Bomber for some extra grenade energy when using your Rift. When you are not using Deliverance or any Demolitionist weapons, I would actually suggest running double Bomber and Powerful Attraction. Running 2 Bombers will get you a little bit more of your grenade back every time you cast your Rift. And yeah, that's the Frost King. Very simple loop here, very easy to use. You can either toss a Cold Snap grenade or overcharge it to make a turret, choice is yours. You can stand next to frozen enemies to take reduced damage, or you can destroy those enemies to create even more Cold Snap grenades, seek out and just freeze everything and get tons of control. And if you're ever low on grenade energy, just kill a few enemies with your Deliverance and you will have your grenade back so quickly it'll be ready almost immediately. I hope this helps you appreciate Stasis just a little bit more. I know Stasis is much more accessible now that you can actually just buy the fragments from Ikora, so that was a very good change. But if you didn't know, Stasis is getting another overhaul next season, and it should be the focus of the artifact according to a recent post by Bungie. So very excited for that. This build is already very good and it's only going to get better. But that's it for this one, everyone. As always, feel free to join the Discord so I will either see you there or in the next video.